almost made the disc not even visible. And she said it was visible for 5 minutes. And these are off the New Fork site. And a couple of these are short tonight, but I got 2 other ones that'll make up for that. This one's also on the same day. It's from Cincinnati, Ohio. She said they were driving south on the I-75 for about 3 minutes, and I guess they looked up to the right and saw a tic-tac shape visible to the west, she said. It stayed there for, I guess, a couple minutes until they, I guess, got up over the hill and it disappeared. And now we have December 3rd. This is from Texas. It's a triangle shape. They said it was visible for 3 seconds. And it was the same color as the sky. And they had 7 to 8 dim lights in the middle of it, and it made no sound. And it flew higher than helicopters usually fly. Which to me, that'd probably be pretty tough to, I guess, spot if it was the same color as the sky was, because it doesn't give a time for it. So if it was in the daytime, it'd probably, either way, I guess it would be tough, unless, at night you'd see the lights in the middle of it.
Interesting.
Yes,
well, yeah,
a lot of triangles.
Ryan, also, according to James, the report on Bigfoot also, not Bigfoot, but cryptids has gone drastically up too here the last week or so. So whatever it is, that's UFO, cryptids, and all that stuff. What else you got for us?
Yeah, I was going to say on Lawn site there's been a lot of new postings for sure. So I definitely agree with that. All right, so we got December 3rd. This is in Vineland, New Jersey. It says a huge blue circular light dropped straight from the sky, and I guess it hovered there for a minute, and then it disappeared. But she said the odd thing was that there was military helicopters in the area earlier the same day. And matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, I had a sighting that was down in Florida, and it was almost the same thing. But this time, I guess the object was the helicopters came after. So it's pretty odd.
Well, I mean, what's the helicopters going to do, though? Go after? I can see the jets going after, the sightings of UFOs, but what can helicopters really do?
Yeah, exactly. That's like the light I saw early outside of my porch. It was an orb, and it was at nighttime, but there was 5 other, that's why I just say they were aerial vehicles, because they weren't making any sounds at all. And if they were helicopters, they were completely silent. But there were definitely 5 other vehicles accompanying this orb right behind. I actually have a video of it. I'll have to give it to you so you can post it up there sometime.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we were being in... When was this? What day?
This was this sighting here in New Jersey, the one I just said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was December 3rd.
Yeah. Well, maybe we're invaded for the New Year's. You never know.
I only hope so. No. No. That's true.
Don't worry. Don't worry if we are being invaded and that they eat the brains from any of us, they'll starve to death. Don't worry about
it. That's true. All right, so December 5th we have is in Roswell, Georgia. It says a triangle shape with 3 lights was visible for more than about 5 minutes. I guess after the 5 minutes, it went to a different position and then took off into the sky. It went, I guess, a couple miles away from where they were. As they were traveling down the road, I guess they actually spotted it at another location. And at this point, it just flew up into the sky and I guess disappeared from there.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm going to read one of mine here because it's a triangle shape. I'm just going to, because it's, there's a lot of them for some reason this month. It says me and my daughter were outside trying to smoke, or we're smoking a cigarette, and they said all of a sudden there was a triangle in the sky. This is from Christy, by the way, from St. Paul, Minnesota. It was a triangle shape in the sky. It made no sounds, and it stayed in the same spot. But as they were getting finished, I guess it turned position, and this is where she said she saw what looked to be, I guess, an exhaust, possibly, coming out of it. Then at that point, She said it just disappeared. It took off so fast. Now, to me, the exhaust, I don't know. You don't ever hear exhaust on triangles unless you're talking about the Hudson Valley. I guess a couple of those people said there was pipes and stuff like that underneath the triangles, which that's pretty odd to me.
Oh, I would think so because however they transport themselves, I don't think they use something where they have to burn off exhaust. So I don't know.
Yeah,
that one I would put kind of like in a separate pile.
Yeah, for sure, because obviously we hear tons of different shapes and sizes of UFOs, but nothing with abductions. You never hear anything about anything about fuel or anything like that, or exhaust or anything.
I wonder if
and
it
also
had
too from when you see them.
Well,
oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry for interrupting you, Ryan, but maybe it had headers on it. I'm sorry.
It might have.
Could have.
I was getting tricked out. No. All right, so we got here December 6th. It's from Brooksville, Florida. It says a large neon blue and green light. It was turned into a rectangular shaped object, and then passed over them. I guess they were staying at the house, and they went out back, and it was headed north there. And then this made absolutely no sound, and it looked to be ascending. So they don't say anything about if it landed or took back off or anything. But a rectangle, I haven't seen a rectangle. Actually, I haven't heard of one of those in a while.
No, I've heard of triangles and all that stuff, but not that one, not for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. These last two here, these are from my email, and this is from Brad. He's from Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin. This is on the 13th of December. It says, I read the wrong one. All right, here we go. Yeah, this one here is one of the ones that's going to make up for a short one. He said he was sleeping. He was woke up by a sudden sound. Now, he says he looked at his window, and he could swear he saw a being standing outside of his second floor of his window. Now, he said the eyes reminded him of an owl at first. But then I guess when he took a closer look, he realized what he was looking at. And he says from there he doesn't remember falling back asleep. But then he also says the next night he had the same thing happen. Now, it took me 3 days to get back to him, or 3 days for him to respond to me. And I asked him if he could remember anything else. He told me he only told me bits and pieces of it, really, and there was really nothing different about it except, I guess, the second night he just basically saw the same exact thing. He said because he wasn't sure, I guess, the second time he woke up. And I'm waiting for a response from him for, I guess, about any other thing that he can remember from that. But, second floor, he says it's, I guess, 70 feet off the ground, maybe a little bit higher. So I don't know if the being itself was that tall.
Well, maybe what these beings do, Ryan, is, I've talked about it with some other ufologists. Maybe they create a portal into the person's bedroom or house or whatever, and that's how they come in. So, being off the ground or being up above the ground or at ground level would not make any difference.
Yeah, I guess so. He could have had a suit on as well. I guess he didn't see the torso of it, so could have had some anti-gravity, stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. A thing about owl thing, because we got a couple minutes and you only had one more report. I had a guest on about a year ago, a game warden. And all of a sudden, he was in his bed and he never bothered to close the curtains because he lived where nobody else lived, out in the middle of nowhere and a long driveway. And then he noticed that like these three beings were walking in his driveway towards his bedroom, and he could see them. And, they came right through the window, and then they abducted him. Now, then he wrote a book about owls. All of a sudden, he started seeing owls everywhere. Now, being a game warden, I suspect you'll see owls occasionally, but you're not going to see them by the dozens every time you go out for a while. And on my show, he was talking about his book and about owls and all that. And I said, let's backtrack here. You were in your bed. You were just getting ready, to lay down. You saw these beings, aliens, walking down your driveway, and then they come into your room. And the next thing you know, the next day you're out doing your job and you start seeing owls. And I said to him very bluntly, I said, do you ever think about whatever they did when they abducted you? They put something in the thought of your mind. The next time you see an alien, because maybe they were watching them for a while, that you didn't see an alien, you saw an owl.
Yeah, like a screen memory. And it's funny you bring this up because I'm actually doing a project right now about screen memories. And that's one of the perfect examples of a screen memory. And I agree with you. And it's also a pretty wild synchronicity, too, to be seeing them over and over, especially after an incident like that.
Oh, yeah. And, then you write a book about it, and he never thought about the other part till I brought it up to him. That just tells you, they implant things in your mind, like Terry Lovelace. When we get him back on here on the 2nd, we're going to get into what was implanted in his brain. Now, what is your last report there, Ryan?
All right, the last one comes from, we got Kevin from Pittsburgh, actually. All right, and this is from New Kensington. This is actually not too far away from me. It says, I saw a green light take off. It looked like an orb, I guess he said, because it was going so fast. It was actually hard to, I guess, see. But then he said, as where he stopped looking at it, he saw an orange orb sitting there. And he figured it was a star for a second, but then it started moving. I guess it moved all the way. I guess it went from all the way over to the west, and all of a sudden it ascended into the sky and disappeared. But then he said the green light flew back over, and that's the last thing he saw of it. And I've seen similar stuff like that too, which is odd because where I look out, my back porch is actually in that direction. So
interesting.
That's pretty odd. Yeah.
Now, do you have your new email address there where you can, tell the listeners where they can, contact you for, reports of UFOs and all that stuff?
I do. It's Ryan, Night Dreams Talk Radio @gmail.com.
Okay, and you want to repeat that there?
Yeah, it's Ryan, RYAN, and then the name of the show, Night Dreams Talk Radio @gmail.com. Okay,
so that's Ryan at nightdreamstalkradio.com, or I should say Ryan at nightdreamstalkradio @gmail.com. Pardon me. And you know what? Also, we're going to have to start getting you on a little bit longer here in the next 2 weeks for these reports, and we can discuss some of these reports also.
Yeah, that sounds good. Because I love definitely discussing about this stuff. It's so interesting. So
yeah, it is. Now, James, you're out there. You got about a minute question you can ask Ryan here before we go to the not news, but for the commercial break for the stations.
Yeah, Ryan, is there any within our Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio area, any UFO paracons or anything like that coming up soon?
To be honest with you, I don't know. To be honest, the last one I know of happened back in November, and that was out in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. And I was out there, and Nick Redfern was there, and a couple other guys. But yeah, that's the last one I've heard of. I think for this year, I think they're done, obviously. But I'll have to take a look into that, and next time I'm on, I'll definitely let you guys know.
Yeah.
And how about any sightings of aliens on the ground this time?
No, like I said, the one I had up in Clarion. Matter of fact, I did have an update on that. Chris got back to me. He's real hard to talk to about the I guess the being they saw in the woods. But the other guy doesn't want anything to do with it at all. So I'll be talking to him, and hopefully next week I'll have an update for you on that. But also the only other sighting I know of, and like I said, was the one I guess gave to you about 3 weeks ago. But yeah, other than that, I haven't had too many aliens on the ground. So, which is a bummer.
Yeah, unless they're coming to get you. But yeah, I agree. Exactly.
Well, hey, Ryan, till next Thursday, I want to say thank you. And, I hope you had a great Christmas, and I wish you you and your family a great New Year.
Hey, yeah, you guys too. Thanks for having me on. Guys,
okay.
Be safe.
Okay, my friend, you take care.
Bye bye.
All right, you too.